It was a weekend getaway, a camping trip with my 13-year-old son, Mark, deep in the heart of the dense, untouched forest. We were eager to disconnect from the stresses of daily life and bond over the simplicity of nature. Little did we know that our camping excursion would turn into a harrowing encounter with the supernatural. The first day went by smoothly. We set up our tent near a serene lake, surrounded by towering trees that seemed to reach for the heavens. The air was crisp, and the tranquility of the wilderness embraced us. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Mark and I huddled around the crackling campfire, roasting marshmallows and sharing stories. It wasn't until the second night that things took a chilling turn. A distant howl echoed through the trees, sending a shiver down my spine. I tried to dismiss it as a mere animal, but the unease lingered. Mark, however, was unfazed, excitedly discussing the constellations we could see above. As the night deepened, an unsettling feeling settled over the campsite. The once familiar sounds of the forest became ominous whispers in the darkness. I glanced around, my instincts telling me that we were not alone. The crackling of twigs under unseen footsteps and an occasional rustle in the underbrush added to the growing tension. In the pale glow of the moon, I noticed a shadowy figure lingering at the edge of the campsite. It moved with an unnatural grace, its form shifting between human and animal. My heart pounded as I realized we were being watched by something that defied explanation. I woke Mark, whispering urgently about the presence I sensed. As we huddled together, the figure stepped into the flickering firelight. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly intensity, and the air became heavy with an indescribable energy. Mark and I stood frozen, our breaths caught in our throats. The creature, a skinwalker, circled our camp, its movements fluid and predatory. Panic set in as I fumbled for my phone, desperately trying to capture evidence of the encounter. But as the camera app opened, the figure vanished into the night, leaving us in a chilling silence. The following morning, I shared our harrowing experience with friends and family, hoping for support or understanding. However, skepticism clouded their reactions. They laughed it off as a campfire tale or the result of an overactive imagination. Despite my earnest attempts to convey the truth, the incredulous stares and dismissive remarks left me feeling isolated in my terrifying encounter with the supernatural. The memory of that night still haunts me, a surreal and inexplicable chapter in our lives that only Mark and I truly understand. It was a chilly autumn night, and I had just returned to my college dorm after a late-night study session at the library. The campus was eerily quiet, with only the distant hum of a few streetlights breaking the silence. As I walked across the dimly lit quad, an unsettling feeling crept over me, but I dismissed it as fatigue and nerves. Upon entering my dorm, I noticed a strange sensation, as if I were being watched. I tried to shake off the unease and chalked it up to my imagination playing tricks on me. However, as I settled into my room, the feeling persisted, growing stronger with each passing moment. I decided to distract myself by scrolling through my phone, but my focus was repeatedly drawn to the window. The curtains swayed gently in the breeze, casting eerie shadows across the room. That's when I noticed something peculiar, a figure standing just beyond the glow of the streetlight. The figure was tall and slender, blending seamlessly with the darkness. Fear gripped my chest as I realized it was not a normal person. Its movements were unnatural, almost animalistic. A chill ran down my spine as our eyes met, and I could see an otherworldly glint in its gaze. Panicking, I reached for my phone to call for help, but as I dialed, the figure seemed to vanish into thin air. I hesitated for a moment, questioning my sanity, but the oppressive atmosphere lingered. A sudden gust of wind rattled the windows, and I heard a haunting guttural sound echoing through the halls. In a moment of dread, I recalled stories I had heard about skinwalkers, creatures from Navajo folklore capable of assuming the form of animals or humans. The realization paralyzed me with fear, and I frantically searched for information on how to ward off such entities. As the night wore on, I heard unsettling whispers outside my door and the scrape of claws against the walls. I barricaded myself in my room, hoping that the morning light would bring an end to this terrifying ordeal. Eventually, the ominous presence seemed to fade, and the first rays of dawn illuminated my room. I never spoke of that night to anyone, fearing that they would dismiss it as a product of an overactive imagination. But the memory of the skinwalkers' haunting gaze and the unearthly sounds still sends shivers down my spine, a chilling reminder that some things exist on the fringes of our understanding, waiting to instill fear in those who dare to acknowledge their existence. Back in middle school, when the world seemed simpler and innocence prevailed, my friends and I stumbled upon a bone-chilling experience that defied all logic. We were a tight-knit group of mischievous 13-year-olds, always seeking adventure in the most unsuspecting places. It was a balmy summer evening, and our curiosity led us to an abandoned house at the outskirts of town, the infamous Miller residence. Legends circulated about the Miller family's mysterious disappearance decades ago, leaving their home frozen in time. The decaying structure stood amidst overgrown weeds, its windows shattered, and its creaky door hanging precariously on its hinges. Intrigued by the eerie tales, my friends, Jake, Emma, and Alex, and I decided to venture into the forsaken house one fateful night. Armed with flashlights, we cautiously crossed the threshold into the darkness within. The air was thick with dust, and the silence was broken only by our hushed whispers. As we explored the desolate rooms, an unsettling feeling settled over us. The atmosphere seemed charged with an unseen presence, and the shadows danced menacingly on the dilapidated walls. Suddenly, we heard faint footsteps echoing through the empty halls. Panic gripped us, and our flashlights trembled as we strained to see what lurked in the darkness. The footsteps grew louder, echoing a haunting rhythm that resonated with our racing hearts. We exchanged nervous glances, contemplating whether to flee or face the unknown. Bravery fueled by youthful recklessness, we pressed on, determined to uncover the source of the ominous sound. In the dim glow of our flashlights, we stumbled upon a decrepit staircase leading to the basement. The air grew colder as we descended into the abyss below. A faint light flickered, revealing a figure standing amidst the shadows, a figure with hollow eyes and a twisted smile. Fear surged through us as we realized we were not alone. The figure, a spectral manifestation, beckoned to us with spectral hands. Frozen in terror, we watched as the ghostly apparition retraced its steps, disappearing into the darkness. The residual echoes of ghostly laughter lingered, leaving us bewildered and shaken to our cores. We fled the Miller house that night, our hearts pounding with a mix of exhilaration and fear. When we shared our harrowing tale with classmates the next day, skepticism and disbelief met our words. The Miller house remained an abandoned relic, and our ghostly encounter became a whispered legend among us, a tale of inexplicable terror that forever bound our adolescent selves in a shared secret, one that only we, the witnesses of the supernatural, could fully comprehend.